What if you could stop working and still have money show up in your account for the rest of your life? Hmm? How much more confident would you feel about your future if you knew your retirement wasn't tied to the market's mood swings? What's the cost? What is the cost to you of not having a guaranteed income stream when you stop working? Well, today we're going to get into it. We're going to talk to you a little bit about one of the best kept secrets in the retirement world, and that is an annuity. You may have heard of it, but there's only a few different ways to talk about. Well, so let's get right into it. The thing is, with an annuity, the basic definition of an annuity is this: it's an agreement between you and another party where money is deposited and later it returns to you as a series of payments. And that's the most basic definition. There are three common forms of an annuity. One, you're familiar with it. It's called a public annuity or Social Security. Two, a private annuity or a pension. Three, asset-backed annuities, and those come through insurance companies. So those are the three basic types: public annuities, private annuities, and asset-backed annuities. And you say, "Oh, well, tell me more about that." Asset-backed annuities, the characteristics are as follows: they can be held as investments or just as savings vehicles. They can be a part of a qualified plan or outside of a qualified plan. But the key here is you decide how much you contribute and when you will receive the income. The account growth really depends on the type of annuity that you choose. But it's the only financial product with the ability to pay you income even when it runs out of money. Let me say that again. It is one of the only financial tools that will continue to pay you income or even when it runs out of money. So let's say we had a bucket and you had a bucket of money and you had $100,000 in it and you have annuitized. That's what it's called when you start to draw money down from an annuity. And let's say your payment is $1,000 a month. When that bucket of $100,000 runs out, because you made an agreement, it will continue to still pay you $1,000, even though you technically don't have any more money left inside of the annuity. So let's talk a little bit about the three types of annuities. There's a fixed annuity, an indexed annuity, and a variable annuity. And these are asset-backed annuities. So the fixed annuity, it pays a fixed rate. So whatever, like the example I just gave you, if you agree to $1,000, it's going to pay you $1,000. The index annuity is going to pay you based on the value of an external index, like the S&P 500 index. There's several other indexes, hundreds of indexes that it can be based on. But again, it's going to be indexed. So it's going to have some ups and downs because, as you know, the indices are groups of stocks together. And then there's a variable annuity. You actually can own investments inside of the annuity. So the variable annuity allows you to buy stocks and trade within it so that it will go up, which is why it's called variable. Now, here's some key things to really think about when you think about an annuity. The liquid provisions of an annuity vary by annuity, by company that provides it, how it works. If you have just like if you have a private annuity, the public annuity through Social Security, the rules vary. If you have a private annuity through pension in your company, the rules vary. If you have an asset-backed annuity with an insurance company, again, the rules are different. The only rules that are the same for each annuity are whatever rules the IRS deems for that retirement vehicle. Now, the asset-backed annuities are backed by large life insurance companies. The account growth should be a consideration when you're looking at an annuity. Depending on when you plan to retire, you should be determining how much growth you want to have, if you're ready to take income, how much fees are you paying. You want to take these things into consideration. Now, The idea behind an annuity is that they are specifically designed to provide lifetime income in retirement with a survivor option. Some you can annuitize without the survivor option, but it can have the survivor option. The key here is to think about an annuity as one of your retirement vehicles. And if you're thinking, I'm too young for an annuity, why would I do that? But the idea is the longer you have time to invest in it, the longer you will be able to draw down money because you're putting more into, you have the more money you'll be able to take because when the bucket runs out of money, you still will receive money, but it will be based on the amount that you receive. So the important thing is to think about, what do you want to do? Now, there are some of you who have older retirement accounts. Maybe you left a job and you said, I'll just leave my retirement over there. So you basically left your money in a private pension or retirement or 401k or something to that effect at another company that you don't even want to be at, but you left your money there. Those types of accounts are able to be converted to annuities and set up in a way that you still won't have access to it until retirement. So to have that growth, and it'll be allowed to grow, but it will also be set, it can also be set up to where you already have some idea what your long-term payout will be when you are able to transition it. Now, there's some pros and cons to annuities, and I always like to drop the pros and cons if I have them. The top 3 pros are guaranteed lifetime income. I mean, can't beat that with a bat. Tax-free, tax-deferred growth. That means it's similar to any other retirement vehicle that you're familiar with where your growth will be deferred. 3, protection from market losses. And that's depending on the type, because if you have the variable annuity, you may be impacted by it. Some cons: lack of liquidity. It's a retirement vehicle, so if you're under 59 and a half, there are penalties and fees associated with taking the funds out past at any point based on the IRS rules. And it's not that the annuity is setting those rules, it's the IRS. There are potential fees and surrender charges depending on how you've been moved into it and what the contract says for the annuity. And the other con is sometimes it can be quite complex and you can have some misunderstanding of the basic features of the annuity and how it works and how it will work for you. And so the big thing is to get into the room and get some understanding about what that is and what that can mean for you, right? My philosophy is I don't believe in putting all your eggs in one basket. Especially not all your retirement eggs. We really need to have, I don't know who came up with the idea of you only need a 3-legged stool, but the last time I checked, I need 4 legs when I sit in a chair. So I want to be stable. So you want to make sure you have access to as many options in the future for retirement as you can, because you want to be able to put your money in a place where you know that it can grow. You know that you can have access to it when it's time for retirement, and you have some flexibility, and there's really not a large amount that you can consider losing. And again, you really want to think about how old you are and when you plan to retire to determine your risk factors when it comes to planning for retirement. An annuity is one of the safest vehicles as far as long-term growth for your financial future for retirement, like anything else. So let's stop just talking and let's stop guessing and let's start strategizing. If you want to get into the room with me and you want to find out more about your retirement options and your retirement strategies, you can join me for my upcoming boot camp, Retire Rich, Sis. You can go to joinsaran.com/retire rich and register for the upcoming boot camp. It is a free 3-day workshop. It's going to be jam-packed with all the information you thought you already knew about retirement, but you are going to be able to walk away with some idea how to put together a strong game plan and move forward with some actionable steps to get yourself in the right direction. And this is for you, even if you haven't started planning retirement, or if you're if you're close to retirement and not quite sure how to start moving. But the idea is to get in the room, and you're going to learn about the top 3 retirement vehicles, and you're going to learn how you can use them to your advantage. I'm going to be your guide on that, for that boot camp, and you are going to be the one who's going to come in and take action and be your own hero and get things set up for yourself for retirement. So, like I always say when I tell stories, so you don't have the worry about becoming a bag lady in New York at retirement, if you will. You'll have all the finances you need, and you will be in a secure place at a time when maybe you don't want to work. So that's it. That's what I have for you today. But really think about those questions that we started with. What if you could stop working and still have money to show up in your account for the rest of your life? I mean, I think it's a game changer. I know you do too. So I look forward to seeing you on that boot camp at the end of the month. And with that, peace, love, and light. Let's get your money right. Bye.